reading this office paper, so I'm gonna read. I'm going to start at the beginning. To the Spin the Bottle audience of December 2014.
That's us!
I'm Catherine Blake-Smith. I'm a production manager here at Annex. I've also directed, stage managed, and performed for this company. And starting in January 2015, I'll be the new curator of Spin the Bottle. This is my home, and for that I'm incredibly grateful. I had lots of different ideas for this performance slot tonight. A year ago, I intended to direct a short play as a way to expand on that skill in an area I'm pretty comfortable in. When I realized I had not prepared anything, and it was 2 weeks away, I had an idea for like this smut theater fusion piece that quickly dissolved because I'd run out of time. So I thought about time, and I thought about what makes tonight significant in my life and in yours. In the history of Annex, and in the grand scheme of things. So now I'm standing on this stage alone, and I have two goals tonight. First, I want to present some lessons I've learned in this past year, and then present a present to Brett Fetzer, which is right there. That will happen later. And this is called, so some of you may have gotten a program, it's called Things I Didn't Learn from Brett Fetzer. This year my life has taken a turn for the busy. It's a good thing. I've started working full-time at a job that demands my attention all day. I'm developing my skills as a barista. I'm earning lots of money, and I'm supporting the operations of this theater nearly every single day. I'm finding new opportunities to make art. I'm making myself a home. I'm meeting new people. I'm developing my communication skills through dating, and I'm solidifying my friendships, and it's really great. I've also watched Brett Fetzer become enormously busy. He married into an amazing and beautiful family 2 years ago on this very stage. Who was there? Yes. And just this year, I've gotten the opportunity to work with him on nearly every single Spin the Bottle. His off night that was in February, Story and Song, Blood Countess, which was just here on this stage. And I've learned a lot from Brett. I've learned the utmost importance of family. I've learned how to remain calm and articulate when the entire world is demanding everything from you. I've learned that it's possible to create art that touches and moves people while still fulfilling your familial and square-world obligations, and all the while looking fabulous. Of course, when I say I've learned, I mean I have yet to fully put any of this into practice. I've observed, I've attempted to integrate, but I'm not there yet. I'm not even close. Except maybe sartorially, I hope. Brett's got a few years on me, and I still have a ways to go, but I'm working on it. This year, I've learned that a mentor doesn't always guide you by the hand, pointing out every flower and tree you see along the path. Sometimes he runs far ahead, and there's occasionally a speck in the distance, and you experience the path years after the trees have grown out of being saplings, and the flowers have evolved into new species. But you watch, and you note his impact around you, and you listen. And this year I've learned a lot from Brett Fetzer, but there's a lot I didn't learn from him either. You know, a lot of people in Seattle know Brett, probably. I mean, we all know him in this room. And every time I meet somebody new, they always have an anecdote to share. They have a warm compliment to give, and it makes me feel really proud to know him. And it's the stories that make me the happiest. This year I've been trying to pay more attention to the oral history of Annex Theater and Spin the Bottle. I've kind of always done it. I've often chatted with Ben Lawrence while I bug him at work, or I listen to Pamela Niatov account her various relationship and educational history in relation to her work at Annex. If you bug Stephen McCandless, he will dig up some treasure, and it's great. But there are others. I've learned the importance of oral history in our theater community, and the need to remember that it is our elders, those who have come before us, those who live and walk among us as peers intellectually, and at times emotionally, who know more of the history. I've been at bars and listened wrathfully to Stan Shields. I met John Roderick. Oh, Brett Fetzer, do say that I say hello. I've chatted with customers at my coffee shop who lived during an era of Annex when I was only a prepubescent teen. And it's those people who taught me what I know. Brett Fetzer doesn't hold a class every week for me to sit and take avid notes during. I've been expected to pick up what I can from others he's influenced and inspired along the way. So I've been learning, I've been listening, and I've been watching. So about 2 months ago, I guess, maybe not quite, we were like, shit, we should do something for Brett. What can we do? So a friend of his, Susanna Anderson, some of you may be familiar with her work and the collaborations that she's done with Brett. We asked her, we commissioned a painting from her. So, I don't know where to pull the best place for everybody to see it. It's really beautiful. It's been like sitting in my apartment all week next to the door, and I just kind of stare at it. It's really, really well done. And so when Susanna emailed me, she was like, I don't know, it's got like ghosts of past in the bottles. It makes sense to John. I don't know. You'll see. So I went last week to pick it up. And she's right. So there's Brett, but in the background there's several memories, specifically of Susanna's, of previous Spin the Bottles. And when I pulled this out at staff meeting on Monday, it was really fucking cool because everybody was like, oh, that one, and kind of everybody popped up with their version of what they remembered of the different ghosts that are in here. So I asked everybody to kind of write down their stories for me so I could read them to you tonight, kind of explain what's in here. So up in this top left corner is the Oddfellows stairwell. So I'm going to read Pamela's version of that. And I guess I'll just hold this while I read stuff. When Annex left its longtime home in Belltown in 2001, we continued to produce nomadically. Spin the Bottle found a new spot in the main studio of the old Velocity space in Oddfellows Hall, what is now the Tin Table restaurant. One Spin the Bottle, I'm not sure of the date, but judging by my haircut in the pictures, I'd say maybe mid-2001 or mid-2002. We're wearing tank tops outside, so it's not winter. I know Megan Darling was living in the Cracker Jack house on Queen Anne at the time, and my hair was in a bob by the time we did Stage Door at the end of 2002, so 2001, 2002 or something. That was the first and only performance of the Bottle Rockets, Spin the Bottle's all-star dance troupe. The stars were me, Megan Darling, Jennifer Pratt, and Jennifer Pratt's crazy teenage half-sister, Kristen. I think that was her name. Kristen was the choreographer, and we rehearsed in Megan's living room, and then everything got busy, and it wasn't as much fun as we thought it would be, and we never managed to make it happen again. So anyway, we showed up at the Velocity at 10 p.m. to 10, and the Bottle Rockets were lined up outside Oddfellows, and Erin Jorgensen is unloading all of the pieces of her incredibly large and heavy 8-octave concert marimba onto the sidewalk, and the doors upstairs are locked. There's no key. Someone was supposed to let us in or leave it unlocked or something, but they forgot, and nobody's answering their phones, and we can't find anyone who knows how to access the space at 10:30 p.m. on a Friday night. So we went around to the other entrance on 10th Avenue to the stairwell outside what used to be Freehold's downstairs studio, now the Oddfellows restaurant, and their East Hall Theater. It's a big, broad stairwell in an imposing turn-of-the-century building with painted cement floors and wide wooden stairs that lead up to echoey corridors on the second floor and dark wood balustrades. And we lined the audience up on the stairs and put the performers on the floor with their backs to the exit onto 10th Avenue and just did the damn show in the public hallway. There were no wings, obviously, so it was super informal and wacky, but the Bottle Rockets got up and did their high kicks, and there was maybe a selection from Josh Fate's Spider-Man opera, someone in my apartment, and then we hauled the marimba out into the echoing hallway, and it was one of the most incredible sonic experiences I've ever had. The hard surfaces made a funnel, and it swooped the sound up the stairwell, and the walls and stair treads were reverberating. It was like you were sitting inside the marimba. Just incredible. And then Jillian Jorgensen read smut, and we disbanded and went home, probably to Stephen's house, to make tray after tray of late-night tater tots. And then there was an oops, our bad phone call the next day, and maybe we got next month's rent free? Anyway, it was pretty cool. So that's the people up in the corner. If you go around to here, there's a silhouette of Paul Goody naked. When I asked Ben via text this evening, how many times has Paul Goody been naked on stage, do you think? Twice full Monty, 3 to 5 in jockstrap, countless in just underwear. That's the story there. We also have, there's these candles coming up over Brett's shoulder down to the bottom corner. And Pamela began to describe this event on Monday, and Stephen also described his, like, what happened during the story. And I didn't quite follow everything because the whole time I was like, I should be writing this down or recording this. I should also be listening to what he's saying. Fuck, it's over. So I asked him to email me. He didn't. I texted him today. I got back. It's not much of a story, apparently. Somebody who is Saskia, he says, yes, her name's changed since. But then it was Saskia Dolores. Bruce, were you there? Yeah. Do you remember what happened?
It was Anna Saskia, and she came out onto the stage with this huge train behind her, and it was covered in tea candles. They were all lit. And those of us who were up in the booth were like trying to judge if we would survive jumping off the balcony with a fire extinguisher if she went up. She managed not to. She walked very, very slowly and very carefully, but McCandless and I and a couple other people were very nervous the whole time, but she had a beautiful voice.
So she's singing, right?
Yeah,
and coming down the steps.
Well, no, she wasn't coming down the steps. She was on the stage,
Okay.
Which was just the dance, whichever theater that is.
Is that at Shag?
No, at
Velocity, okay.
And Stephen McCandless was following her like the world's creepiest bridesmaid, picking up candles, putting them back on her train.
That moment resonated. Another moment that resonated with Susanna, when I showed this bottom corner here, there's a right angle of blue tape. And everybody asked that, I don't know what that is. And when Susanna showed me the painting, she said it very quickly, and I didn't quite get everything. And I asked Chris Conti, who I would say is like our definite history keeper on the X, and he didn't know what it was. And so I emailed her again, and I'll read to you what she wrote. It was from a Maureen Whiting piece. She has a hyperlink to it. It's called The Continuous Humiliating Process of Being Human. She blue tapes out a rectangle during the dance, anchoring the start, stretching it out, lying down on it, crawling along it to really stick it down, all the while playing to the audience. I think it was maybe the first spin the bottle that John and I ever went to. Honestly, I had been afraid to go due to the name. Thought I may have to kiss a stranger or step in front of strangers. Even more honestly, I couldn't stand this piece. To the extent that for some reason it has been called Rats in my mind ever since. Maybe rats are mentioned in the soundtrack. But Maureen's piece was a hot show that year. I think we ended up at 2 more shows where she performed it, 12 Minutes Max, and I think one other place. In the Magic Theater, it eventually gelled with me, or maybe it gelled on its own, and I came to really like it. In fact, I think about it frequently. Since at work, I tape stuff frequently. I got to thank Maureen for it last year when she was choreographing something at ACT that I was overhired painting on. Ben and McCandless might remember it now. There's some other little Easter eggs in there. We have the pink to honor Brett's wedding a couple of years ago. There's a raven from his story, Red Raven, which I can't do the impression quite well, but apparently the Red Raven says, "Little girl, little girl." I haven't seen it performed, but you can buy it in his book. Buy it in his book. There's a shadow of an alligator on his chest. So there's a lot of, yes, it's really fucking cool. So, Brett, this is for you.
This whole concept of having this late night show, you've been involved with the New City Pastor's Bedtime Show, and he curated this 40 years ago. We started the show. Space, and he's been doing it the whole time. And yes, and he's got But he'll still be around, just passing the torch, as it were. All right, well, gosh, where do we go from there? A couple of other, speaking of Spin the Bottle, you can win tickets to next month's Spin the Bottle and see how the new era is going. And also, our friends at Northwest Film Forum have passes for two, also in the raffle. All right, well now, it's time for something completely different. Some theater. This is, you may have a program. You may have more information than I do. Lauren Lovney is a director from out of town, and this piece is being performed at the Pocket and Comic Boards, or Pocket Theater. This is Not a Table for Three. It's the title. Please sit back and enjoy.